99.9 Punk World Radio FM. We got a phenomenal interview coming your way. We take things back to the early 90s, one of the best punk rock bands to ever do it out of Vancouver, British Columbia. We got 10 Days Late right here. How are you ladies doing tonight all the way out there on the West Coast?
Good.
I'm doing really great. It's really hot out.
Yeah, it's actually not too bad in Ontario, but we're getting some rain this evening. So, I mean, that's definitely one of the main reasons why. But hopefully the rain comes to the West Coast.
We get enough
Nice.
I
actually think I'm kind of goth. Generally, I'm like, oh, I love it's raining. It's so sad.
But I know you all are very busy individuals, so I'm not going to take you away from your evening too long, but I want to take you back 32 years ago to the year 1993. Oh, yeah, like I told you, we're going way back.
Oh, my God, really?
Where you guys came together to form 10 Days Late. Like, what is the story behind this amazing band, and how all four of you come together?
Well, okay, this is actually one of my favorite stories because, we were 18. And Lana and I had never met. And she comes to my house party and she comes strutting in with these high-heeled boots. And she whips open my bedroom door because I'm playing my little acoustic in my bedroom with a friend doing a Beatles cover. And she's got this entourage of guys behind her. And she's like, hey, man, you play guitar, I play drums. And I swear I jumped in the back of her Jeep that night and never looked back. And this is a picture of us. How much can you see that?
What I'll do, actually, I'll take everybody off the screen so like there's always.
We are 18 years old doing Battle of the Bands in Edmonton. And we had a cello player because we couldn't find a bass player.
Amazing. Yeah, that was our first show for sure.
Yep. That was our first show, right there in history.
Well, I remember hearing.
And it's not every day you can infiltrate. I was going to say it's not every day you can infiltrate someone's bedroom at a house party and not have it end up positive. I mean, the stories I've heard about that turn out to be a very negative response almost immediately. So the fact that this actually was the formation of 10 Days Late is actually pretty gnarly.
Yeah. It was great.
Yeah, it was pretty awesome. I heard this really beautiful voice singing like these nursery rhyme kind of sounds, and I was like, as soon as I opened it, it's like this beautiful blonde girl. I'm like, sold! She's in the band that's like I'm making up right now.
And then we moved off to Vancouver because, that was the thing to do. And then we found the rest of the members. And we did that for, a long time, or all of the 90s, for some of our best years, and that was pre-internet, right?
Yeah,
so
I think
it was
we toured for 10 years.
Yeah, we did. I have slept in very strange places on the back of a van. I was really good at sleeping in the tire well. We have eaten in gas stations thinking beef jerky is probably your best source of protein and nutrition. And that was, and that would create the spaghetti incident, because when you arrive at someone's house, they're going to give you vats of spaghetti because it's cheaper to feed that many people. And so still to this day, I won't eat spaghetti. You can give me fettuccine, but I won't eat spaghetti. No way.
That's hilarious. We used to always have a loaf of bread and a big jar of peanut butter. And we were like, no, we got to save our money. Take our $10 each gig, you get it per diem. And we would put it together, and that would be our gas money. We'd always come home with money because we were so resourceful.
It's true.
And I got to go back to the tire well situation, because I mean, that's honestly, there's a creativity in me that wants to press on that subject right quick. How did you find out how you could even sleep under a tire well? I didn't even know that was humanly possible. But how did that come to be the first time?
When the spare tire comes out of the back of a van, it leaves a little hole. And so you can kind of crawl into the hole and still put stuff on top of yourself, because either you stuff bags into that hole, or you stuff me into that hole.
She was usually so drunk that she didn't even know where she was. So it worked perfect.
They couldn't find me.
Well, at least if the heater ever went out in the vehicle, you know that the belongings and everything, all the tour gear will keep you warm throughout it.
Yeah, exactly. And that time that we were doing the big tours with the snow jam and all that stuff, and we decided that we were going to make these boys' dreams come true, and we picked up 2 hitchhikers on the road, and we pull over, dramatically open the van door, and it's like, go, hello, boys, get on in. And they're like, whoa, man, what just happened?
5 girls in a van.
And they stunk so
Well, you
bad.
know what?
Yeah.
Okay, they smelled so bad.
Did they actually get in the van, or did they end up like Harry and Lloyd from Dumb and Dumber, where they looked at themselves and just pointed them up the road?
I think we dropped one of them off earlier, and then the other one that stayed with us, they were both really good-looking guys, but this dude just stunk. And then I'm driving, and right where the doghouse is in the middle of the van in the front, he takes his fucking boots off, and he puts his feet right up on the doghouse where our coffees and stuff go.
Like,
and
up
I'm
on
like,
the dash,
what the? And I was like, no, off to the side, you're out. And our guitar player was like, I'm sorry, you're gonna have to leave. It was totally out of Thelma and Louise or something. Like, it was just so insane. I was like, no.
It was funny.
Yeah, it was pretty funny looking back, but
You gotta tell us about food.
It's always the hot
Say
ones
what?
that smell, eh? I never understood that. But in 1994, a year after the band's formation, you ladies released a phenomenal 7-inch vinyl titled "Go with the Flow," and clearly that guy took the advice of this single and went with the flow on his hygiene side of things. But can you tell us the story behind the 7-inch vinyl, and of course, has it since been uploaded to the internet so this new generation of punk rockers can actually enjoy what you guys put together so many years ago?
Mm-hmm. That one we recorded with, I believe it was Ian Jones and Zach Blackstone at Greenhouse here in Vancouver. And I just remember being really proud of the dot on the 7-inch. It was a strap-on, and then the dot came through where the penis would go, or the dildo, or the strap-on, or whatever artwork we had. God, we were really good. I loved our artwork. It was so ridiculous.
It was great.
Now there's so much like cancellation and PC this and that, and I'm all for most of it, but I don't know if you could get away with stuff like that. Like, it was a little freer, I think.
Yeah.
I think for the next for your up and coming record or next music you put out, you should definitely try something like that. You should just see what happens.
Sure.
Push those boundaries.
But I got to say that this 7-inch was in my opinion, was absolutely phenomenal. I saw the prices on Discogs as well, because I know Discogs people can buy, sell, and trade different vinyls and CDs and whatnot. But the price on it is absolutely insane. The last price that I saw was about $250 from some person in the if people are selling the record for that much.
Lana,
I saw one for $600. I know, I have a case of them. I should just go on vacation.
get in the van. Get in the van, Lana.
Get in the van. Use the van.
You know what? We just went on tour in Quebec, and we were selling those for $20. And I was like, people don't realize what a deal that is. They could just sell it. It's like better than scalping. It's like,
Okay, so if you want to buy the LP for $200 or the 7-inch for $200, please visit our Instagram site.
we'll even pay the shipping. We'll pay the shipping.
I think for
included.
250, y'all should autograph it as well. You know, at least sign it.
Well, that'll put you at around $600.
Touche. Fair enough. But also, speaking of tour, because I know you just mentioned you all were on tour in Quebec, but also back in the 90s, 10 Days Late had the opportunity to open up for a very then young Blink-182. From what you can recall, can you tell us the story of that show? And of course, what was it like? Did you have any interactions with Mark, Tom, or Scott during that particular day on tour?
Oh yeah, we were with them for
Oh,
a long time. Yeah, go, Lana.
Oh, I wish I had my photos ready. I got one. Oh, actually, on the inside of our CD, there's a picture of Mark coming out of a shower in a towel. And then I got another picture of them sitting on a curb eating McDonald's. Mark and Tom both. And then I have a picture where the drummer put Lana on the front of their kick skin. Do you remember when he would yell, Lana?
Yes.
Like Stella?
Oh my God. Yeah, it was really great.
That was a really fun trip.
Lana and the drummer had a repertoire of comedy that they would be hillbilly husband and wife, and it was so funny. The whole crowd would just be roaring, and it just went on. And we were with them for a long time, and I'll tell you one thing, they did not like to leave their clothes on.
I believe in 1999, the world learned that. The world definitely did learn that in 1999 with Enema of the State.
Right.
You know what I remember? I remember playing this show, and the stage was probably up to your shoulders. And
Drummondville.
I remember somewhere. And then I thought it was downtown Toronto, though, because there was this huge window behind. And as we were playing, I kept grabbing my beer, and I would drink it. And I was like, this is the weirdest tasting beer. Like, there's something wrong with it. There's something wrong with it. And then I realized later that they had put water in my beer. So I was actually drinking the flattest tasting beer I've ever had in my life. And we'd always play little pranks and stuff like that. And then underneath the stage, while we were playing, one of them had dropped their pants and was pretending to whack off, but they didn't know that behind the stage was an open window to the street that you could see underneath the stage. And so that's going on while we're rocking out. Anyway, they would just do the way they are kind of in their videos is kind of how they are in real life. Like it's nonstop. It was nonstop. So.
And they would streak naked too. We'd just play and doing our thing, and all of a sudden, boom, boom, there's like naked Blink-182 people running back and forth. Like they just couldn't help themselves. It was fantastic. It was fun. It's good to travel with a group like that because you get so tight and your humor just gets sicker and sicker and funner. And then when you have to part ways, it's just the loneliest feeling.
And at least when it's all women in one van for so long, and then you see three naked guys running around, you're kind of like, hey, you know, I get to get paid for doing what I love to do, and I get to see some skin. So, you know, it kind of works out.
And then you know what? You get to like take turns in everyone's van. Well, that sounds weird, but when you're driving, you can we'll take your bass player and you take our bass player, and then you kind of get a break from your band and you get to hang out with different people. And you know, you have a caravan going down the road with like 5 different vans when you're on like a festival show. It's a lot of fun.
And quickly before we move on, I know you mentioned on one of your albums you actually have pictures of young Blink-182 kind of in the booklet. I was wondering, like, does Mark to this day know that he is actually in some way, shape, or form a part of a 10 Days Late record?
I would say not.
I'm not sure. I would think he doesn't know. Yeah, we've got a few people in that. Like there's Tony, there was from 10 Foot Pole. He plays in Papa Roach now. He's in there. Garth is in there. I think Garth knows he's in there. Joey Shithead from DOA is in there. There's just a whole bunch of. It's a collage of a bunch of tour pics. You know. But if you want to see Mark getting out of the shower, get the CD and I'll sell it to you for $1,000.
I will admit, $1,000 is pretty steep.
I'm sure someone would pay that.
I will admit, I
Crazy
will
world,
admit,
right?
I might idolize Blink-182, but I don't idolize them that much.
Oh, you're gonna go home and you're gonna look in that CD leaflet and you're gonna be like, oh, well, that's who that. Oh, I see it.
But also, in 1996, on 2112 Records, you released the album Sticky Flytrap that is honestly one of my honest favorites. Can you tell us the story behind this iconic album? And of course, what was it like just being in the studio recording this particular project? Because if I'm not mistaken, I think this is the last album that you all put together during the early 90s.
Yeah, that one we recorded with a guy named Futcher. I think he does like he's an engineering like professor, or he has a school. And then we recorded it with him, and then he searched out Garth, and Garth really liked it. And then one thing led to another, and Garth was mixing it and producing it at Brian and Adam's house here in West Vancouver. And so we got to stay there for 3 days, and that was a whole other trip and awesome story there. Yeah, having Garth do it, I think it was the first time that we've ever all came in a room and then listened to a mix, and we weren't all like, it was all quiet, and we were all like, yeah, this is pretty good. Like, it was just probably the first time we ever heard a mix that was like one and done. Like, he's that good. This is really great.
Yeah, that's very true, and that's Garth, whose fame was from Rage Against the Machine. And in some of our heavier stuff, you can hear almost how much fun he was having mixing it and adding things to it and twisting the guitar sounds a little bit. And on our heavier stuff on that album, which is really like a symphony of heaviness, and I don't know, it was notable. Yeah. And still when I listen to it, I just sit back and go, wow, like, holy shit.
He put in some, like, there's some cool like radio conversations that was put in underneath it, and it just gives this like almost Rob Zombie kind of like layering of heavy, and you get these weird transmissions of like all these talking, and it's really cool because that's obviously part of the production. We didn't really have that. That's not how we produced it ourselves, so it was cool for someone to take it to another level.
Yeah, I mean, his caliber was so high and honorable. I mean, it was even honorable that he took us on as a project, right? I mean, of course, we paid the man probably half of what he's worth, but anyway, he was new to Canada at that moment, which was pretty notable too. And what's funny about that is when we were in Brian Adams's house on the North Shore, of course, I'm creeping around.
No, it was West Van.
What, huh?
It was West Van.
Oh, okay, wherever you took me. What's weird and notable about this that I tell people, and they're like, oh, wow, is he had, as a photographer, even back then, he had photographs of like models and stuff and beautiful stuff. But he had in his laundry room all his photos of Lady Di. In his laundry room.
Oh, I never saw that.
Yeah, his whole collection of photos of Lady Di we were in the laundry room. Yeah.
Wow.
And she hadn't even passed yet at that point too. So, just furthering the rumor of Brian Adams and Lady Di. I mean, how can I resist a little gossip? And his brother was amazing. Remember, Brian Adams' brother was the nicest guy. He took us on and kind of babysat us and took us to all his garden parties and loaded us in the back of his
I remember. He kept telling me there's a beautiful bathtub upstairs and I could go take a bubble bath. Like, oh, thank you.
And if Brian Adams ever watches this interview, which I will admit, I probably never will, but if he hears this conversation, he's probably going to say to himself, well, this cuts like a knife.
Take us on tour, Brian.
I don't know. They know some stuff, Brian. I'm just saying. So you best give them the headlining tour. You best open for them. They know some stuff. I'm just saying. Like, you open up for them, they're the headliner. I think would make it all right.
Oh, love.
But next year marks 30 years since Sticky Flytrap has been released. Do you all have any plans to actually do a 30th anniversary edition, remaster, or even re-release vinyl at any point?
Yes. Yes, we do.
Well, we have so many new songs that we're trying to, with two Lisa twins here, we're trying to record a new album with a lot of songs
Lisa,
that never
I got something
released.
for you. Magic.
And that
What is it? Say what, Lisa? Oh my god. Am I the only drunk? Like the only one not drinking in the band? Weird. But yeah, I know what you're saying. Like someone said, maybe that album should be remastered, just modernize it a little bit. But we're kind of going through this process right now where we're thinking we want to record the second album. And we did a lot of demos for it, and there's some great songs on there. And we were playing those on our last tour, and they went over really well. And I think having Lisa 1 and Lisa 2 here on the album would be amazing. And it's kind of the new lineup that we have.
Yep. Yeah. And there's something gifted with the age where we're able to kind of strip things down a little bit and find more, like as Lana says, the groove of the actual song rather than overplaying and overcomplicating itself almost to death where it almost ruins itself. So, some of the songs that we weren't finished at the time back then in 96 or 7 and 8, whatever we were writing in 98. So it's really nice to kind of rewrite them and make them better. Like age is a beautiful thing. It really is a beautiful thing.
Also just being a better player and playing for the song rather than playing for just because you can and you've got some really cool stuff doesn't mean that you have to play it. It's kind of like when to hold back and let the song breathe a bit. And I think when you play longer, you play more to the song.
It's true. So we were thinking we're probably maybe looking at going in and recording probably in January or something. And then maybe, do an EP so that we can let it out in drips and drabs. I don't know what do kids do what do they do these days? Like
mostly singles. They release nonstop singles, and I will say, I guess I'm just old school. I would much rather devour an album than a single. And I don't mean to say this when I'm in front of and I always got taught to never swear in front of ladies, but I'm just going to say this. I find when bands release singles, it's a dick tease.
Right.
100%, because you get that single, you're listening to it, you love it, and you're like, fuck, I want more. I like albums. That's just me. That's who I am. But I mean, nowadays kids are just releasing singles after single, and you're like, damn it, just release an album.
Mental note.
I play in another band, and then we always put out albums. I feel like you put so much work into the singles, and then when you want to compile it onto an album, they all were recorded in a different room or a different time, so all the settings are gone, and then you're trying to master it so that the songs all kind of work together. But they weren't really recorded at the same time with all the levels set at the same time. So you don't have this album flow. But I also think if you don't have a lot of material and you're a new band, maybe putting out a single is all you really got. You know what I mean? So there's that too.
Yep.
And the one thing I have to ask, I know we've been having a great conversation and going back in history, but the one part of history that I'm sure you all knew was probably coming at some point during this interview. 10 years after you all formed the band, unfortunately, you guys disbanded and went your separate ways. I have to ask, what caused you all to go your separate ways way back in the day? And of course, what led to the reemergence of 10 Days Late?
Yeah, I have no problem telling you that, Vancouver was definitely ripped apart by drugs in the 90s. It was, and luckily they were in the 90s safer than they are today, that's for sure. We definitely had power struggles. We definitely had teenage angst of different anxieties that clearly don't exist anymore in our calmness of age. And a couple of them started to have a little bit of not perfect health. So it kind of became a little bit of a kaleidoscope. There was tendinitis, there was lupus, there was all sorts of things coming at us all at once. And unfortunately, as life rolls that way, it was happening to us, climaxing, all those things were happening to us at the very time that we were probably doing our best. And as insane as it sounds, that's almost part of the part that kind of made us shatter a bit. Instead of, being completely unified and protecting each other, we just kind of went, this is all too fucking much, and kind of burst at the seams. But I have to tell you that I'm just kind of grateful for all that, because us coming back together now is probably the most perfect thing that could ever happen in the whole universe. Two Lisas. They're so awesome. And so now the vibe is fresh and the thinking is fresh. And if drama comes up, Lana's famous words are like, yep, nope.
Well, I've always had this thing that when you're going to be in a band, and you always have to, the band has to be bigger than your problems. Like if I'm mad at Renee that night, I'll just hit my cymbals really hard because it's her face, but I won't like hit her. You know what I mean? So it's like you learn to just, this band, we got to play another show, and you learn to hold back and cooperate better. It's like self-control, and you just have to feel the band is bigger than your personal discomfort or problems or whatever. And I think that's how you sustain bands for 10 years, 20 years, 30 years, however long. It's a little maddening to even be a musician in a band. So I think you have to be a certain person to plug away at it that long.
Lana, you told me that you got revenge with Renee. You can't get away faster. And she turned around and go, what the fuck?
Yeah, so I mean, I'm grateful for all this time. I mean, because you know what we're going to do now? I'll tell you what we're going to do now. We're going to do every festival under the sun. We're going to get on a big monster tour, right, guys?
We are.
Yeah, we are. And we're going to go. We are going to go. So festivals.
I think
what?
I know after this last tour was, I mean, seeing Lisa back at work. She works at the graveyard shift at a brewery, which you think that's kind of a dream job, right? But as soon as we got back, we're all back to, I own a music venue, and we were all back at work, and I was kind of like, this is so depressing. I just want to be doing festivals, sitting side stage watching Goldfinger, and their drummers so kick-ass, and their bass players, it was just like you come back and you just want more.
And propaganda.
So I think that's where we're going to be not staying in. Yeah, it was so much fun.
That was fun.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Love.
So and with that being said,
we want more.
Of course, the last time you all actually performed a show, like before you ladies got back together, this was pre-internet, or I think at that point maybe the internet was just starting to kind of be a thing. Now, 10 days 10 days late is back in 2025. Obviously the punk rock community is totally different. Everything is all based upon social media, likes and views. Certain bands can't even get booked now if they don't have a certain number of followers, which I still think is stupid, but it is what it is. But with that being said, how difficult it is how difficult is it for, 10 days late to actually kind of reemerge in this era of punk rock? Is it difficult, or is this something you guys has adapted to like snap of the finger?
I feel like we've been offered too many shows, like especially in the BC area, that we have to decline a few of them. Like we're opening for Teenage Bottle Rocket next month, and then we're playing out of town. But I feel like there's no shortage of gigs. But what we want to focus on, I think Renee's working on a festival in Alberta, maybe in February. But I want to get on, like Lisa, guitar player up there. She wants to get on Punk Rock Bowling, and I want to go to Europe, play Japan, Spain, all those places. So I don't want to just stay and be a Vancouver band. If that, like, it's okay to play here, but I think the goal is to try to play elsewhere. And I think the reception has been really great so far. Our shows, like the last one we played in Vancouver, was sold out. We played with the Death Sentence. Yeah, it's been really great, and a lot of people that are, oh my God, I remember you from this and that, and telling me stories that I don't remember. So it's kind of cool to get, those fans coming out and loving it. And making new fans. There's been a lot of younger crowd.
That there were people that flew in for that show from like Prince George town to see 10 Days Late.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I know you all want to do festivals and shows nonstop, but I do know in the middle of the interview, we all spoke about a potential new record that 10 Days Late is currently working on. And the comments section on YouTube was buzzing when y'all were talking about that. So I just want to dig a little bit deeper. Maybe a couple cats might run out of that bag. But I have to ask, what can your fans expect from the new 10 Days Late music? Like, is it going to be, obviously, there's a much maturer side of 10 Days Late due to the drastic number of years that have passed, but is it going to have the same essence as the original music, or you guys have a different style that you want to implement? Maybe more cowbell or something like that?
Always.
Because you can never have enough you never have enough cowbell in punk rock. You can't have enough cowbell.
Well, it's interesting because some of the stuff that hadn't been recorded yet was things that we wrote in 1997 and 98 when we were working on that second album. So I'm really excited for those songs. And as far as like growing the fresh sound, that's very interesting because it's just 10 Days Late. It'll always be snarky, snotty, fast, cheeky, relevant, dark sunshine, if you will. It'll always have sarcasm and humor to it, and so I mean that's kind of how I feel 10 Days Late's sound is. Will there be slower ones? Will there be faster ones? Will we actually do metal again? Yes, we will, because we can and we like it. Right, Lisa?
I also think I think there's going to be a little bit of like modern production put on it, just because when you're recording, there's so many new plugins, and there's just so many updated ways of recording that I think it's not gonna. We're not going to try to record something from the 90s. You know what I mean? Like I'm sure there's a plugin for that as well, but I think it's just going to be like a cooler, tighter, played better, sung better. Not that the singing was bad or anything. It's just it's going to be really, really on point, and
Yeah.
It's gonna be great. Yeah, I love some of those songs, and I'm, I feel like they should have been on the other album, but they weren't.
That's
And
true.
on Bandcamp, speaking of that first album, the album that we put on Bandcamp has 2 bonus tracks that never actually got put on the physical copy. So if you go to Bandcamp, you'll actually hear 2 songs that were never released. I think it was, what songs was it, Renee?
Wilhelmina for sure.
Wilhelmina, and there was one more. I'm lost on it right now, but there was 2 on there.
Hey,
maybe,
yeah.
or something.
I think so. Yeah.
And what was the reason why they weren't actually released on the original album? Was it just due to like the label not wanting to put them on, or was it just the fact there wasn't enough room?
Well, I think at the time we were like, oh, these aren't good. These aren't, we probably had enough songs. But now we listen to them and go, those were great. They sound killer. So we just put them on our Bandcamp. So they're there. I don't think we'll re-record those ones because they sound really great. But there's a whole album of other stuff that I can't wait to put out. It's going to be great.
And aside from all the shows and, of course, the new album that's currently in production, what is next for 10 Days Late? Like, is there anything we happen to miss during this evening's interview? Anything else you also want to touch on, talk about, or promote? Well, we still got you here live on the radio station airwaves this evening.
Lisa Lloyd? You want to hear anything?
I've got nothing.
Because you're perfect. Stop being perfect. We're not afraid of the hard work that it takes for us to do this, and the hard work that we've already put in to get to this point, to get ourselves to Red Bridge Fest. And it is, in fact, the discipline of an artist that makes them kind of more stand out. So, we're in it. We're back in it, and we're going to do the hard work. So we can hopefully grow our Instagram followers from our mere 408 people to I don't know, a vast amount overnight, guys. Instagram at 10 Days Late.
Because, when you have followers, you're cool. But you know what? The thing about that I want to touch on is there's a way that people can buy followers. I know a band that did it on Spotify, and all of a sudden they're touring. And you know what? They paid for those. They paid $5,000 to bump it up 100,000 followers. That shit's not even real. Like, you got to go out there and just be getting organic followers. Like, I just think people aren't stupid anymore. And if you see a band and they're really great, support them. But I just think all that shit's not even real. Yeah.
And you can definitely tell they're not real either. You can tell because they all have they're all blank profiles and they're all Arabic.
Totally. And
it's like I'm not even trying to come off as racist. It's the truth. It's literally all blank, and they have that Facebook no profile picture icon with just Hebrew writing, and you're just dude, there's a pattern here. We see this. Unless you're really big in the Afghanistan community, there's no way.
Right. Yes. So, yeah.
Oh, no, sorry, my apologies. Go ahead, Renee.
No, I was just gonna kind of reiterate that we just want to be very selective about what shows we do, so that we don't kind of burn out our small scene. That's what we used to do in the old days, right? So
yeah,
we're looking for big shows.
I think every new band just plays lots until they're ready to leave town.
Yeah.
And we've already left town, so I kind of want to just, go do it.
Just slide back out there and reclaim the spot.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. The band kicks ass. I mean, we can do it. It's not like, I've been playing constantly the whole time. It's not like I took a break and went to sleep. I've been playing shows this whole time in other bands. So It's not about, oh, I got to get back in shape for it. You know, I feel like the festival, it was kind of just like there was no time that was lost. It was like we just picked up where we left off. People were singing our songs in the crowd. People were showing me old pictures of us together, and you know, it was really, really cool. And you know, thank you for having us today. And that's all part of that forward motion of getting out there and being asked to play shows, and you know, maybe jumping on a tour with our friends from Gob, or talking to Greenland. Ad in Montreal is amazing, and maybe he can help us get some festivals. Or people of punk rock said they wanted to put out an album. So it's all these things that we'll follow up on, you know, and do.
I can definitely attest that people of Punk Rock Records, there's some really great people over there. So I will say, if you sign that paperwork, yourself and your music will be in great hands. I've heard nothing but great things about them as well. And I interviewed a lot of bands that are currently signed with them. They're phenomenal. Like, I mean, when I hear the fact that that record label's that good, it makes me want to switch from DJing to picking up a guitar. Maybe I might. But I mean, I know I can't play guitar with crap, so that's why I interview the talented people, and I'm just, you know, helping you get bigger, because I can't play guitar. Trust me. Like, I would expect people to throw food and full unopened beer bottles at me if I started playing. I would expect it.
Well, just catch them and open it and drink it. Like, just do it.
I think if there's 20 bottles coming at me, I can only catch maybe one, maybe two if I'm skilled enough.
Awesome.
But before we actually part ways here tonight, I do know that you dropped the Instagram handle, but where can we actually follow 10 Days Late across all social media platforms if we're not already doing so? But we are a punk rock radio station, so if you're not following them already, what are you doing?
We've got 10 Days on Facebook. We've got 10 Days Late Band on Instagram and Bandcamp.
Bandcamp is the best. I mean, we were debating putting our stuff up on Spotify, but you know, that's a whole podcast hour long of bitching about that subject. So it's kind of one of those subjects, like I have another band and we're on there as well, and it's kind of like then you have less Bandcamp sales, you know, like I've had someone say, oh, maybe I'll buy your CD, but are you on Spotify? I'll just listen to it there. And I'm thinking in my head, buy my fucking CD, support me. You know, for like 20,000 plays, you get like $3 or something. It's ridiculous.
Like, when they listen to your music, they're not even throwing pennies at you. They're cutting pennies and like they're literally taking out a welder and cutting pennies in fours and just throwing like little shards of pennies at you.
No, it's really like, I don't know. Just the whole industry with all of that, and a lot of bands feel like trapped. You know, like you feel you have to be on that platform or else you can't book a tour because you don't have X amount of followers, which you can just fucking buy anyway. But it's like, you just gotta go out. Yeah, I hate Spotify. There you go. Like, you know.
I honestly agree. I don't even have Spotify or any streaming services myself. Like, I use none of them. You know what I used to do? I used to get the 30-day Spotify and then use like a prepaid credit card just so I feel like I'm fucking them back. So when they try and charge it, it just wouldn't work, and then I'd go make another free 30-day account. It's like, screw you, I'm not giving you my money.
Yeah, but I think to support bands, like I feel Bandcamp is probably one of the best. And then going and seeing their shows and getting merch, and you know, supporting live music, the venues, the merch, and all of that, keeping a scene at a grassroots level alive, to me is the best way to support any band. You know.
The one thing that I really enjoyed as well when it came out before was Google Play Music. You used to be able to actually physically buy the MP3 files and buy the actual albums, kind of like Bandcamp. but they would actually like download directly to your phone. I love that feature. I used to actually physically buy the albums and buy people's singles, and I felt like I was actually contributing, but then they took that away. So now I
Oh.
pretty much just go to Bandcamp or I go to Sunrise Records and try and physically buy the album.
Ah. Yeah, it's an interesting time. It's kind of it did its internet and electronic peak, and now it's that system is kind of crumbling. So it's interesting to see where it'll go.
But I first and foremost have to say thank you so much, Lana, Renee, Lisa, and Lisa, for giving not only myself, but the radio station airwaves, listeners, and viewers on YouTube a bit of your time this evening. It was such an honor speaking with all four of you. I cannot wait to hear what is next and the new record and just see this amazing, legendary band flourish and continue doing what you ladies do best, and that's tearing roofs off venues and kicking ass. I'm super stoked just to hear the new record. But for now, have yourselves a phenomenal night out there on the West Coast, and I'm sure we definitely shall talk again here soon.
Thank you
for having us.
Yes.
You're most certainly welcome. Have yourself a phenomenal night.
Bye.